Okay, in this video I'm going to teach sign function. Here, sign function, firstly, it has three value only. We know it's getting 1, 0 and -1. Okay, we need to know this one. When it is getting 1, when it is getting 0, when it is getting -1 value. Here, when the number that is written inside the sign function, or when the function what is written inside the sign function, if it is greater than 0, it's equal to 1. If it is equal to 0, it should be equal to 0. And if it is smaller than 0, it should be equal to -1. Okay, then if sign fx positive number, like sign is sign 5, it should be, which is greater than 0, it should be equal to 1. Sign 5, it must be equal to 1. Why? Because 5 is greater than 0. Or sign 7 is equal to 1. Sign 0.1 is equal to 1. Because 0.1 is also greater than 0. And sign 0.00001, you may continue like this, there's no problem. If it is greater than 0, because this number is greater than 0, if it is greater than 0, it should be equal to 1. And the second one, sign when the function is getting 0. When the function is getting 0, when the value inside the sign written, what is written here, if it is 0, then function is getting 0 value. So sign 0, it should be equal to 0. Okay, then sign 0 is equal to 0. Then sign -3, which are negative values. -3 is equal to sign -4. This is also -1. So when you write negative number or sign 0.00001 minus 0.001, which is very close to 0, but negative it is, so it's going to be equal to -1. Okay, if I try to explain this one on the graph, here we have y is equal to x plus 2 function, and for y is equal to x plus 2, we know we are going to get some values here. I will give the values here, x is equal to 0, and then this implies that y is equal to 0 plus 2, then y is equal to 2. So y is equal to 2, this point is going to be. Okay, if y is equal to 0, this implies that 0 is equal to x plus 2. 0 is equal to x plus 2 it should be, and x is equal to -2 it's going to be, and x is equal to -2, this point. So our line is going to pass through these 2 points. If I draw the line here, line here, the graph, it's going to be something like this. And this is y is equal to x plus 2 graph. Okay, this value is -2, x value is -2 here, and y value is equal to 2. Okay, then here we found the graph of the y is equal to x plus 2, and now I'm going to find y is equal to sign x plus 2. So here y will get 3 values. 0 it will be, -1 it will be, or 1 it will be. So y is equal to 0 here, this point, y is equal to 0, y is equal to 1, or y is equal to -1 it will be. It will get these 3 values only. When it is getting 1 value, when the function, what is written inside, when the function is positive. Okay, now this is the function. When this function is positive, when the values are this y is positive here. Here y is negative. So these values are positive values with respect to y we are talking, of course. Here positive, 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 and it continues positive. X value will be negative. There is no problem about that one. We are talking about the function. Function means the graph. Graph is positive when y is positive. So when the values are greater than -2, function is positive. When the values are smaller than -2, function is negative. It's going to be. So I'm going to choose the 2 here, -2 point here, and when the values are greater than -2, when the values are greater than -2 to this side, the function value is equal to 1. Y equals 1. Y equals to 1 is going to be here to this side. It should be like this. And when y values are smaller than -2, the function is, it should be -1. So here we have the graph of the, now this is the graph of the y equals to sine x plus 2. Here again I'm repeating, this point is the critical point. This part is the positive part. This part is the negative part of the function. And when the function is positive, it's written up. When the function is negative, it's written down. Now the function here, what is written? X minus 2 function. And x minus 2 function, the graph of this is the graph of x minus 2 function. And when it is positive, when it is negative, we should try to understand that one. As you see here, at this part, the function is positive. At this part, the function is positive here. At this part, the function is here down. At this part, the function is negative. Okay, at this part, the function is negative. It should be. They're going to draw the sine x minus 2. Sine x minus 2. X minus 2. Sine x minus 2 graph. Here, the critical point is 2. When the values are greater than 2, at this side, the function is positive. So at sine x minus 2, we should draw this line. When the values are smaller than 2, at this side, the function is negative. So sine function, it should be equal to -1. And it's equal to 0 at 2. So here this part we are going to circle, these two they are going to go open, and this is the graph of, as we said, sine x minus 2. Now I'm going to draw the graph of y is equal to x squared minus 1. X squared minus 1 graph, as you see here at this part, when the values are greater than 1, it is positive. At this part it is positive. At this part it is positive. But between these 2 points it's negative. These points it's negative. So it's under the x-axis. The y is negative. So for this function, the critical points are 1 and -1. There are 2 critical points here. This point and this point. These 2 points, they are critical points, -1 and 1. Okay, then when you check the graph, when the values are greater than 1, this side, when the values are greater than 1, function is positive. So it's written like this. When the values are between 1 and -1, function is negative. When the values are between 1 and -1, function is negative. So function is going to get -1 value here. Okay, -1 value here, and this is 1. You know, when the values are greater than, smaller than -1, here this side, it means again function is positive. So again our function is going to get 1 value. The y, it should be equal to 1. Okay, now for this function, here it is positive, here it is positive, here it is negative, here it is negative, and here it is positive again. So if we check the critical points where it is intersecting, these are the critical points. They are going to be for us -2, -1, and 4 it's going to be. So I'm going to assign -2, -2, and -1, and 4 here. Okay, and 4. Here is the 4. Okay, now when we draw the graph, when the values are smaller than -2 this side, the function is negative. So when the function is negative, if you remember, we are going to draw -1 graph. Okay. When the values are between -2 and -1, we should get function is positive. We should write the value y value is equal to 1. Okay. Between -1 and 4, the function is here, it is negative. So between -1 and 4, the function is going to be -1. Okay, the function is going to be -1. Here the function is okay. When the values are greater than 4, the function should be equal to 1 again. As you see, this graph and this graph, when it's positive, it is 1, when it's negative, -1, and the critical points are same with the graph. This function value is important. This should be, if it is -1, this function x2x plus 1, it should be smaller than 0. Or 4x minus 12, it should be greater than 0. Or x squared minus 4 is equal to 0. Here the most important part, students generally they are doing this mistake. 2x minus 1, they are writing 2x minus 1 is equal to -1, which is wrong. Okay, which is wrong. Okay, do not forget this one. So what it should be? It should be smaller than 0. Many times we repeat this one at the beginning here. If fx is smaller than 0, what is written inside? Then function value, it should be equal to -1. So we are not going to say, we are going to say this is not equal to -1. This is the first one. And second one, if the sign value is equal to -1, then the function, what is written inside, it should be smaller than 0. Okay, 2x smaller than -1. This is the solution method of the inequality, -1/2. Okay, what about 4x is greater than 12, x is greater than 12/4, and x is greater than 3. X squared minus 4, if it's equal to 0, x squared, it should be equal to 4, and x should be plus and minus, this is also important again, plus and minus 2. Okay, this is the last question now, how to solve this one. And here the graph, again, we are going to draw the graph of the sin x, and the critical points are -3, -1, and 2, -3, -1, -3, -1, and 2. These are the critical points. Okay, we are going to check when the values are positive, when the values are negative. Here minus, it's going to be here plus, it's going to be here minus, and here it is plus. So when the values are smaller than -3, function is negative. If it is negative, here the graph, it should be, y is equal to -1. Okay, when the values are between -3 and -1, the function is positive. So the function, it should get, sine function, it should get 1. This is fx. We are finding sin fx. Okay, then between -1 and -2, between -1 and 2, the function is getting negative sign, so the sine function must be -1. And here, when the values are greater than 2, function should be positive. And this is the graph of sin fx. This is fx, this is sin fx. It's getting only 3 value.